There's three guys that went to high school together and were best friends throughout their whole lives. They got killed in a plane crash. So they're waiting in line to get into heaven. They finally get to the front, and there's an angel guarding the gate. The angel asks the first guy, "How many times you cheat on your wife?" Guy thinks for a second, can't quite come up with it. He said, "I don't know, between 10 and 15 times." The angel reached in his pocket, pull out a pair of keys to a Toyota Camry 2010, hands it to him. He says, "That's how you're going to drive around in heaven. You shouldn't have done that." He asked the same question to the second guy. He says, "5 times. I had an affair, but it didn't last. I worked it out." So he gives him keys to a brand new Range Rover. Says, "That's how you'll drive around in heaven." Lets him through the gate. He asks the third guy, same thing. He says, "Oh, I never cheated on my wife. I was faithful the whole time." So he gives him keys to a brand new Rolls Royce and says, "That's how you're going to roll around in heaven." Lets him go through the gate. 3 days later, they made plans to go golfing. They're talking in the parking lot. When they get there, the guy in the Rolls Royce is visually sad and upset. You can tell something's bothering him. And the other two guys are like, "What's up with you, man? What are you so sad for? You just got a brand new Rolls Royce. We're in heaven playing golf for free. Everything's good." He says, "Yeah, on the way here, I passed my wife. She was going down the road on a beat up old beach cruiser bicycle. So a suicide bomber blows himself up and kills a whole bunch of people. He gets to heaven. Angel meets him at the gate. He says, "Oh, hey, we were expecting you. There's 72 really horny virgins waiting for you. They can't wait to fuck something." He says, "Oh, great. I knew it. It worked out. Where are the women at?" The angel, "My grandfather sunk 7 submarines in World War II. Legend has it he was the worst submarine captain the U.S. Navy ever had. My grandmother is in a better place looking down on me. She's rich and moved to Hawaii. She's very condescending." What do you call a blonde with 2 brain cells left? Pregnant with twins. Why was the blonde at the bar snorting Sweet and Low? She thought it was Diet Coke. A man walks into a bar and bets the bartender $50 he can lick his eyeball. Bartender takes him up on it, so the guy takes his glass eye out and licks it, puts it back. Bartender's pissed, but he pays him. Then he says, "I bet I can bite my other eyeball. I bet you $500. Bartender says, "Okay, yeah, you'd have to be blind. I'll take that." So the guy takes his dentures out, puts them up to his eye and bites them, puts his dentures back in. Then he orders a beer, pays for it out of the bartender's money, and walks off. He comes back 10 minutes later, and he says, "Hey, I got one more for you. I bet I can put a shot glass on this bar and run past it while I'm pissing and piss into the shot glass and fill it up while I'm running. I bet you $1,000. The bartender agrees. So the dude goes running by the bar, pissing all over it. Doesn't get any of it in the shot glass. Just pissed all over the bar, the bartender, the seats, everywhere. The bartender starts jumping for joy. The guy pays him his $1,000. Then he walks off. And the bartender hears somebody in the corner of the room yelling, "Son of a bitch!" So he walks over to him. He says, "What's wrong?" The guy says, "That asshole just bet me $10,000 that he could walk over run around and piss all over you and the bar and everywhere over there, and that you'd be happy as hell about it. A man walks into a bar, walks up to the bartender and says, "I want a rum and coke." The bartender hands him an apple. The guy says, "What the hell is this?" "I wanted rum and coke." Bartender says, "Just trust me. Take a bite out of the apple." So he takes a bite out of the apple, and he's amazed. He says, "Wow, this apple tastes like rum." The bartender does like this, telling him to turn it around. So he does. He says, "All right, take another bite." And he takes a bite of the other side, and it tastes like Coke. And the guy's shocked and amazed by this. And the second guy walks up next to him, and he orders a gin and tonic. The bartender does the same thing, hands him an apple. And the guy that had the rum and Coke is like, "Oh, trust me, just try it. This guy's onto something. He's got magic apples back here." So the guy's a little skeptical, but he takes a bite out of the apple, and he's pretty shocked and amazed. He says, "Wow, this tastes like gin." He says, "Yeah, it's amazing, right?" And so the bartender says, "Yeah, turn it around." And the dude does, and he takes another bite, and the other side tastes like tonic. So he's like, "I've got a gin and tonic apple here. This is incredible." And so the third guy walks up, and both of these guys are like, "You got to try one of these apples. Don't order a drink. He can give you an apple that tastes like anything you want." So the guy sits there a little puzzled for a while and doesn't believe him. He's like, "Okay, give me an apple that tastes like pussy. I haven't had any in a while." The bartender's like, "Yeah, I can do that." So he hands him the apple. The guy takes one bite out of it. And he's like, "Wow, this apple tastes like shit." So the bartender looks at him and he's like, "You gotta turn it around." A bartender is working alone at a small neighborhood bar when this beautiful woman comes up to the bar, and he hasn't seen a girl that looked like that in a while, so he rushes over there. He says, "How can I help you, ma'am?" She motions for him to come closer. So he leans towards her, she leans towards him, and she starts caressing his beard and rubbing his face, and his hair on his arms is going up. He's getting all excited. And she says, "Hey, can I speak to your manager?" And he says, "Well, there is no manager here right now, but maybe I can help you with something." So she keeps going, and she's rubbing his hair all over his face, trying to turn him on or whatever. And she's